All right, good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Ramadhani. I'm from Pangkal Pinang Climate, Environment, Energy, and Sustainability Institute, PCEESI. Today is 18 April 2025, and uh, as part of the training program in our institute, uh, I'm going to share you some kind of explanation in introduction to the secretarial work. Okay, so for today, we're going to talk 5 sections. So there's introduction, and then core responsibility and essential skill. And we're going to talk also about the tools in secretarial work and conclusion at the end. Okay, so I'm welcome everyone to this session. So this lecture, I'm going to laying the foundation for effective support in our institute and in general public also for secretarial work. And it is really important that we're going to understand the role of this kind of administration and secretarial work, which is we're going to talk about the key responsibility and the essential skill, how we can create a success within the organization by doing the good governance in the secretarial work. Okay, so basically, we know that the secretarial work are not just typing method. What does that mean? So we're going to explore more like the administrative position is not just about the writing, recording, archiving, but it's about the wide range of administrative work. It's include the clerical support tasks in executive and also how to um, create the smooth and efficient environment operation within the obvious department of organization, as you can see here in the definition. So it's include the support tasks for smooth and efficient operation within the organization, right? Whether it's a department, university, or in governments itself. Okay. Um, a lot. Today we're going to looking at some kind of terminology that secretary work. The secretary job is not only secretary work, what they call as the administrative provincial professional. Sorry. Also, they call it as the executive assistant. Executive assistant. And also, it's often called as the office manager, or sometimes we call it as the project manager, because the one that going to manage everything in the corporation, let's say, is the secretary. It's going to talk about the paperwork, something like that. So it is really important that the secretarial work in one of organization can help each other to ensure that we have the smooth and efficient environment operation as in the current definition. And this role actually evolve um, within the era. So that's mean there is a technology that can support, right? We're going to talk about the tools because uh, it is really important. And next session, we're going to talk about the general and basic recording in secretarial work, how we're going to utilize the good recording management practice. And we're going also to practice how we can apply this the technique into the recording, because one of the important technique that secretary has to do in the corporation job is how they can enable the good recording practice, because they have the minutes meeting, right? And a lot of discussion that can leading to the very, I mean, most important decision in the organization. Yes, I already talked about that, the third point. So yeah, we also call them as the backbone of operation. That's mean there is critical contribution within the organization that secretary has to uphold. That's mean um, it is linked, I mean, strongly linked into the productivity and success within the organization. Once you have the good secretarial work practice, then you can enhance the productivity and success, because there is kind of high correlation, I mean positive correlation between the company success. So if I can plot like this, so let's see the y axis is the the productivity percentage, right? And then this one is the efficiency of time usage by secretary or admin. So the correlation would be like this because it's positive. Okay, let's see. Is positive correlation with R equal to 0.99 or 1? Okay, is positive relationship. Okay. So once we got this kind of definition, right, they have the positive relationship in the company productivity and success. Um, there is important point. So we have 5 points that um, can describe the contribution that the secretary have in the organization within the department, university, or corporation in normal operation day. So they can be up some kind of specialist and manager, and then they have as the center of the communication. That's mean you can get some information flow directly from the secretary, and uh, there is kind of memorial also, so organizational memory. So that's mean the record schedule, the knowledge of the institute can be put it on in the secretary, and it can be delivered by the help of communication and also problem solver, because a lot of work that I think, because it's mostly corporation job, and also it's the company. So uh the problem solver is very important in the administrative role, because there is no there is no longer technical issue, but it's mostly paperwork that going to be dominant in this case, right? Because there is like handling in routing issue and some kind of like anticipation or prevention if there is like unexpected event that happened in the company. Okay, so next is typical that duty that they have and a task. Uh, one is the communication management is very important, because a lot of problem that we have to face today because of the failure in the communication management. What does that mean? So the communication management is important. Once you uh, have the good secretarial practice technique, that's mean the communication management is imperative to um, cultivate it, because they will answering the phone call. Let's say if there is like join agreement, and we need to kind of like MOU something kind of uh like I don't remember what is the terminology, but they have the statement of the agreement, something like that. So secretary can play important role here, and also the email or just like a normal secretarial work like email, memo, report, presentation letter, or some kind of like parcel, something like that. Yes, let's already talk about this one. And this one is scheduling and coordination. So um, calendar, right? Individual team, meeting, accommodation in case of like, workshop or even some kind of like logistic. But normally, um, secretarial work doesn't really deal with the logistic a lot because in company they have their division for logistics. So I think uh in case of like small company, maybe secretary can be a logistic coordinator also. Yes, information management. I think information management is a bit uh, uh linear with the communication management because they will maintain the filling system. We're going to talk about this one because it's going to talking about recording also, and we're going to talk about the uh archiving. So how we can apply the good archiving practice also because this is really important, right? Because we are not going to like dig deeper into kind of like library science now, but it just like how we can just practice a little bit, so how to grasp the a meeting correctly, and uh, how we can uh, utilize some kind of information to get some kind of like beneficial decision in organization. Okay, database entry and management. But normally this one is archive, right? But database entry normally is is part of the computer work. That's mean IT, right? Because it's working with data science also, because it's database development. And normally it will be handling by other, and retrieving information as needed. Information in this case is internal, right? I This is internal information. That's mean all information that included in the internal. This one. Mhm. Yes. So information in this case, right, are only internal, not external, because external, the secretary just manage internal information, not external, because external can be in public affair, something like that, public affair or special affair that have the task force to retrieve to rectify the information from the external. Okay, so they are the same. Office administration is very blatant. It's pretty clear that pretty obvious that they will going to doing some kind of office administration. That when you like supply office equipment, professional, and maybe like service provider also, something kind of like that. Yep, support function. But support function normally in our institute, right? In PCEESI, in our institute, we not really using this one because support function is more kind of like technical issue. Okay, support or technical, and also related with like maybe kind of like more practical issue, like preparing material, right, bookkeeping, kind of like uh but administrative tasks they will support, but for only just to this one, they will have their own um technical department to do so. And the last, I mean, let's see. Yes, this is last section. Oh no, 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 no. Before the last section, we're going not to talk, but I'm now the question in hand. in our minds, how we can make the secretary professional and effective, right? How we can develop it. That's the question. And that's why you join this session, because you're going to know that how we can create the effective secretarial job, right? And how we can create the admin is professional. So the absolute condition is organizational skill. So when we are hiring the people, right, for admin position or secretary position in our institute, right, we're going to prioritize that someone that has the long pathway, I mean, long experience in organization, whether it's student organization, whether it's kind of like NGO, right, non-governmental organization also, or it can be like project also if they join the conference or something like that. So there is like leadership position. So we prioritize the leadership position candidate. And it is really important once they have the leadership, right, skill inside them, they can develop it, right, to manage multiple tasks, to meet the deadline, and how can retrieve information logically, because there is a lot of issue nowadays. The university student doesn't really care about leadership point, because um leadership, there is a lot of issue within the leadership. Is about the communication, right? How about the handling people, and also how to think logically, how to think, I mean rationally rationally. Yes. So it's really important that um once they get a position, right, we can do kind of like um enable them to activate their leadership skill once once that organizational skill already gained. Yes, that's it. So I think one of the important point, because the second point is the communication skill, but actually the communication skill can be included in the first point, is the leadership or organizational skill, because once you join the organization, you can get the communication skill, handling people, how to also dealing with the conflict, because uh I think because the environment in the company, let's say fact, um company, organization, department, university, it is job place, right? I mean, it's workplace. It 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 is a workplace. So it was a fluctuative. It was a fluctuative. Hence, it is very decisively um, important to us to consider that unexpected event can happen anytime. That means there is a dynamic that happened. So it was dynamic and fluctuative. So that's why leadership and communication are really important in this case. Yes, but once we talk about the communication skill, right, in the company, uh, it is include the clarity, the professionalism, and accuracy in all interaction. It not means only the verbal, like I'm talking now, all right, into the audience directly. It's one way communication, but it has the written also. So it include the email also, lettering, memorizing something kind of like that. And it was it need the specific training to how to write the effective um corporational email, something like that, which is not included. But if there is like audience to 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 explain about that, so I think we're going to also have the training session for that. But I think for now, our institute that already scheduling for this month. So we're going to talk about the green mining also. So we're also going to talk the basic recording next session. And let me check the schedule. So our institute already kind of scheduling. So okay. So next week we're going to talk about the introduction to the natural resource and management. Introduction to the natural resource management. So we're going to talk about the how we can manage the community resource. Yes. Yeah, we're going to talk about the asset management, the logistic, and how we can manage the natural resource effectively to enhance the sustainability. Yes. And okay, let's back to the topic. So, um, one of the important also is the time management. Time management, of course. Once you pass the leadership and you have to have the strict time management, that's mean um you're going to able to uh, manage your time effectively, and that is the issue. So first, you need to know how to learn to prioritize. So the thing or issue, let's say, in one event, right? You have um the problem one. The problem one is about the uh let's say you have to creating the presentation for the workshop that will be useful for the institute, and it will going to join collaboration with the Ministry of Environment, let's say. And the second one is the issue like there is kind of like a barrier in the administration section, which is there is like a report from the community or the public or the customer that the website is down. So which one is the prioritization to administrative? The first one or the second one? Obviously, um, when we're talking about the prioritizing issue or the mixer, uh, we're going to see the big impact first. So of course, if we're going to consider the big impact and also the big benefit, it will be the first one. Because the second one, it can be a long way. I mean, we can pending it a little bit, but we're going to this one because the workshop is very important and there is like collaboration also that we can get funding or maybe from the Ministry of Environment. Yeah. And also it going to talk about because it's time management. So we're going to talk about how we can working under the pressure. Yeah, because a lot of now is the job desk, right? Uh, they're going to talk. One point is like how you can work under the pressure, right? So the workload issue is really important. So the first or the second, you're going to select based on the impact and urgency. Yeah, the urgency. And the next point is attention to detail. Attention to detail. So that's mean the accuracy. We need accuracy. Accuracy. Because I think a lot of a lot of incident that happened, right? Let's say Chernobyl in Ukraine. No, no, no. Back to the 19, I don't know Chernobyl, but Chernobyl. Chernobyl is now in Ukraine, right? The plant, the nuclear plant, but it part of the Soviet Union. So the Russia now, Russia. So uh, I think there is like a problem with the accuracy also because the engineer inside the nuclear plant, right? Kind of like I don't know, it's maybe like the heating issue, but it's kind of like reactor issue. But yeah, that's because of this kind of like safety issue. Yeah, safety issue. If you know the problem with the India in Uttar Pradesh. So in India, they has the pesticide plant, and because of the kind of like safety issue, right, and maintenance. So until now, the soil in that kind of area of the pesticide plant is uninhabitable. What does it mean? People have to displace to other place, right? That means people has lost their job, agriculture, environment, their social also here. So it was really um it was really sad to face, but it was a reality. So that's why attention to detail is very imperative and decisively important to us as the part of administration to work on. Yeah, there's a lot of thing. I think in Poland also. So in Poland there is like textile. I don't know it's textile or like I don't know it's industry, but they like discharge the nutrient a lot into the river. I mean the I know it's not the river, but it's like a water bank, something like that. Because of nutrient, like okay, this is a bit of environment. Um nutrient like nitrogen, phosphorus, calcium, something like that. NPK, all right. Um, Kalium. Um, they can promote the eutrophication. What is that? What does it mean? Eutrophication. Eutrophication is the condition of the where this kind of like condition can promote the algal bloom. That means the algae, macroalgae, the seaweed, but it's different. Seaweed is macro, which is in the sea, but this like micro maybe and toxic sometimes because once you got the eutrophication, they can block the sunlight into the water. Therefore, the fish, the plankton, some kind of like ecosystem inside the water, I mean the aquatic ecosystem going to die. And there's like water quality issue also, like dissolved oxygen, something like that. Yeah. And maybe biochemical oxygen demand also can be affected by that kind of issue. So I think in conclusion, attention to detail is very uh, undeniable, undeniable to take care in this case. Yes, Chernobyl is very um, confining story if we're going to talk because it's nuclear plant. Uh, the next is technology proficiency, but we're going to talk about this one, this kind of technology tool, right? Maybe we already like familiar, like Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, email, Outlook, calendar, something like that, Google Calendar, something like that, or specialized database or communication tool that we can design by ourselves. And it was really important. They're going to be comfortable, all right, with the standard one. I mean, they are proficient, competent, capable to do so, to work on, to operate in. So everything going to be smooth and efficient. And then ethics. Ethics is very important. Nowadays, there is a lot of uh, issue with the ethics because they're going to be corruption, something like that, right? Or attitude, the integrity, something like that, reliability. Because uh, once you don't have the professionalism ethics or ethics code of conduct, everything will be mess. Even though you are good at leadership, something like that. But I think once people have the leadership skill, right, they are going to be professional. But it's not about the ethics because your attitude, how to maintain the integrity within the relationship, within relationship, with other company, with the customer, with the audience, something like that. So one step forward, something like that. Because again, discretion in this case is paramount. You need to be honest. You need to be honest, but still need to maintain the ethics, the professionalism, ethics, and the integrity is very important because ethics can affect all. Once you broke the ethics, people will not going to believe you anymore because uh you are not reliable and you are not integrated. All right, so proactive. So proactive is the issue actually. I don't really agree with this kind of point, but I don't know why they give this one. But anyway, proactive mean like you need to do the thing before someone tell you. That's called proactive. Or maybe in some terminology, uh, proactive mean you need to doing some kind of like prevention or anticipation before what happened, something like that. So it kind of like uh pre-assessment, pre-assessment, like identifying the potential issue and finding the good solution to the problem in before any incident happen in the future. And next is the adaptability and the flexibility. Indeed, um, a secretary should maintain the adaptability and the flexibility. What does that mean? It means like they have the willingness to learn the new tasks or changing their priorities. Because in sociology, we have the terminology of the uh, it's not it's not the schema, it's not stigma, but it's mm, the mind map of reality. The mind map of reality. Okay, this word, yes. In psychology, we have the terminology we call mind map of reality. What does that mean? The mind map of reality is the condition when you, it's not racist. So mind map of reality, like you're going to meet the people from the 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 the, the how you could say. I cannot say it because it's very sensitive. But that is like mind map of reality, or maybe you can say like stigma, right? Stereotype. The stereotype is stereotype. Yeah, I think it can be analogously uh into that point. Wait, yes, stereotype. So once you get the stereotype to the people, then you are not um going to has the priority. So that's why, because a person, right? We are the human being. We are the social human being. So the stereotype can uh, attach anyway. I mean, during the social interaction, social construction, something like that. So that's why maybe some kind of like priority, right? They perceive like, oh, it was important, but a lot of people think that it's not really important. Why you try to prioritize this thing once it's not really important? But because these person are not um has the good stereotyping management. Yes, stereotyping management. So I think that's a lot. That's the issue actually. But anyway, this kind of point is not really a matter like ethics or kind of like organizational skill or leadership, something like that. So I think it's not really paramount this time. This time, yeah, yeah. Okay, so before we going to conclude our session, first session on the introduction to the secretarial work, we're going to just looking at the list of the common software and hardware that we have in the secretarial work. Of course, I already talked about the word processor like Microsoft Word and Google Docs. And for the spreadsheet, we have the Microsoft Excel or Google Sheet. Right? It's very easy, okay? It's very straightforward, and it was abundant, right? I mean abundant in case like you can use it for free, right? Yeah, you can use it for free. And for presentation, you can use Microsoft Point, Google Slide, right? Or maybe for professional, you can use Figma, or you can use Canva, right? Canva is very easy. And for email, you can use the Outlook or a Gmail. And for the calendar, it's kind of like the normal one. We can just, for cloud, we can use the Drive, right? And the communication tool, we have Team, right? We have Zoom, right? Now we are talking in Zoom. It's one of the communication tool, right? We don't need to meet the on person, right? In person, on site, something like that. But we can meet anyway, every time and everywhere, right? Yes, via Zoom. Okay, we are already talking about software and hardware. Hardware, of course, you need the computer or maybe laptop, right? Desktop, right, to work on. There is no way now. It's the modern era. You're going to write everything in the paper. It a waste of money, and it was you know destroying the environment by the paper. Yeah, because I think I have seen a lot of paper that talking about the environmental impact or the carbon footprint or the water footprint or the land footprint for the paper industry. So paper is that's not sustainable once you can use the digital one, right? Like what I'm doing now. So I'm going to use the noting application online, right? Calling good notes, right? For the presentation. So it was reducing the impact to the environment. Indeed, because if you use paper, it's not sustainable. So it's not sustainable because we know that land footprint, the water use footprint, the carbon footprint that um, affected, I mean, uh, consequently happened because of the paper production. That's a lot actually. I think paper industry is not sustainable like efficient industry also. Can you imagine that every time that you flying with the airplane, right, in the airport, it can generate the greenhouse gas emission and carbon emission more than higher than one of the big industry emitting in 1 month. So it's like small industry, maybe small industry, like um I could say like house level industry, something like that. So imagine, imagine everything what you do can generate the emission, carbon emission, and climate change is real, right? Climate change is real. So uh it was really important. It was really important. Just use the digital one. I think it was really important. And also like printer, scanner, copier, telephone system, or shader. It was optional because normally we're going to talk about the paperwork, right? If we are going to talk about the secretarial work. Yes. I think the potential one is the optional or additional. Yeah. But for database, right? This is very funny because I have visited some institute also. Their database is Microsoft Excel. Actually, Microsoft Excel is not database management system. I'm sorry to say, but Microsoft Excel is not specific database. You need to build your database using the server or what? Because it's not safe. People can retrieve your information easily and hacker get hacking I mean easily. So Excel is not a database. This is a very strong point actually. Yeah, they use Microsoft Excel. This is pretty crazy. Why use the Excel as database? You need to build database by yourself. Yeah. For the software, maybe for the calculation or kind of like storing the information, it was okay. But for the database, it was not. It was not. It was a mistake. It was a mistake indeed. So don't use the Microsoft Excel or Google Sheet as the database. It was a mistake. Okay. So before we recap, I would like to address one of important issue, evolution of this role. A lot of people say like now the AI is booming. AI is booming. The generative AI is booming. Artificial intelligence, right? Like ChatGPT, what else? Gemini, right? By Google, right? BART, previously they call. Uh, it was good actually. We have AI, but the question now, because we're talking about the secretarial work, right, job, administrative job, can AI replace the secretary? Uh, I can. Um, it was a challenge actually. It was a challenge because I think a lot of in US, right? In US, they laying off the people because they don't need the people anymore. So now the working one is the AI for their production, something like that. So it was a concerning issue. But I think for in Southeast Asia, like in Thailand, Indonesia, Singapore, Malaysia, Brunei, something like that, in Southeast Asia, I think they still need labor work. I mean the people, the human work for them. So I think don't really to be scared. Well, I think in Thailand, not really, not really serious thing. I mean for changing the people because I think a lot of in the departmental section also they still using the I don't think they still using the people as the secretary for inputting the data or something like that. So I think AI is not really concerning in Southeast Asia, but for in US, I think they are very serious about the AI because I think they need to manage the kind of like budgeting, something like that. So there's like a financial budgeting issue also. Yeah. So okay, back to the secretary. So now is AI. Okay, the AI is done. So um, the problem with the this role is let's focus on the simple transcription. All right. What does that mean? The secretary should taking more into the account of the information management, how they can manage this information and data. Data management is different, but okay, for secretarial management is information management mostly. It's mostly information management. So uh, let's more focus in information management and less focus on the simple transcription. And then we need to increase this kind of skill in digital literacy and technological proficiency because you have AI, right? And today is digital era, right? Digital era. That's mean we need to increase the digital literacy capability of the secretary in the company, in the organization, on institute, something like that. And then has the proactive support, not just reactive. What does that mean? Proactive, I already told you, they will identify the problem and they will find the solution before it happened. I mean, before that, the accident happened, before the problem happened, rather than reactive reactive tasks. Reactive tasks mean that your boss come to your room, right, to your table and ask like, okay, please prepare this data and doing some kind of presentation and report in the departmental meeting. It was reactive, right? You working once your supervisor talk you to do it. Let's say like, okay, uh, please do this work and submit by next week, something like that, at 1 p.m., something like that. That's a reactive task. Rather than like that, you should be proactive, right? Yeah. You should be proactive. So that's mean before your boss talk to you because it was your that duty and task, right? And your responsibility, so you can work beforehand. Yes. Um. Now the specialization, this role, like the secretary role, is evolved. What does that mean? It evolved like they have legal secretary, they have medical secretary in the clinic because I once joined in the clinic because my diploma in clinical and community pharmacy. Yeah. I got my associate degree here in the pharmacy, in pharmaceutical science. So I don't think so because when I'm working in the like let's say I once working one year in public health community center. So in our pharmaceutical section, they don't have the secretary. It's just like the pharmacist, right? It was the pharmacist, right? So the pharmacist will also manage the secretarial work. That's mean like reporting the thing, something like that. I think the concern is because the issue is it more specific because it's also their jobs actually. So I think the people from the management degree or something like that doesn't have to take that one because they have just like the normal office because it was working with health issues, something like that. Yeah, because when I'm working as the assistant of the pharmacist, right, in the clinic or in the public health center or in hospital, um, normally we doing by ourselves. So let's say when the prescription come, right, the patient come to us to asking like, okay, this is our prescription from the doctor, and we need the drugs, right? So I think when we create the prescription, uh, I think we manage everything. Like we going to how many we talk out, how many we take in, how many we, you know, take it off, something like that. So it was really precise and very strict. And it also because it's medical field, so it was really concerning actually. So I think let just the people in that field working for that. So I think for now, I think just for secretary in kind of like general field, I mean in general issue, but for like medical, legal, or kind of like let's say more technical issue, it just like let them to do it. Just let them to do it. And the last one is strong administrative skill. What does it? It means like the adaptability and continuous learning skill because in one of the key takeaway right, of the success in the modern administrative role is how you can be proactive, adaptability, and continuous learning. So I think once the person has this kind of skill, these three skill, proactive, adaptability, and continuous learning, they will success in their future job as the secretary. Okay, let's recap our um, session, introduction to the secretarial work, right? How to support the administrative issue, administrative work, organizational work, something like that. The first key point is secretary um and administrative work is fundamental foundation to the organizational efficiency and effectivity. And the second one is the key responsibility that attached to the secretary is communication, scheduling, information management, and office administration. So they need to have this key responsibility. They need to be able to communicate effectively, scheduling strictly, information management smoothly, and office administration uh, effectively. It was really important. And the third point is uh, the secretary has the essential skill from the organization and communication leadership until to the teach the technological proficiency and professionalism. So that's mean there's a like wide range of essential skill that an a secretary has to hold beforehand. I mean it's not beforehand. You can develop it along the way your career. Yeah, in company, in corporation, or in the organization or institute like us. Yeah. And then, like I said, AI, right, and virtual assistant rises. the role is very dynamic and fluctuative. So just be ready. Just be ready. But I don't think so. Like in the US, right? They will lay off you quickly. Yeah. I think I have seen in Indonesia, they still using people actually. They still hiring people actually a lot actually. Just for like research assistant, something like that. Yes. Because they need the people actually, because they cannot, I don't think so, because maybe it's the middle, let's say the middle income country, right? Same as like Thailand. Thailand also is middle income country. Developing country, I'm sorry. Thailand, Indonesia, right, is developing country. So I think uh they still need people to work with them. All right. They still need the people to work with them. So just be ready with the adaptability and protectiveness is going to be okay. Yeah, I think it's going to be okay in this region. I think it should be okay for now. Yeah. And the last point is I just want to mention that the and secretary, right? A secretary, they have to realize that in deep in their heart, deep in their body, right? Uh, their skill are highly transferable and valuable, because I think uh, a lot of company, a lot of corporation, and also a lot of organization, they need a supporting team, supporting task force for ensuring the smooth operation and success within their mission of organization. Like also us in the Pangkal Pinang Climate, Energy, Environment, and Sustainable Institute, we are really value and really appreciate if you has the highly skill on this kind of issue, because it's very transferable and valuable for us to um, achieve the success in the future. Okay, so thank you for your participation in this introductory lecture. Next lecture, we're going to talk about the um, general and basic recording for secretarial work. I think we're going to take a break um, around 10 minutes uh, before we start the next session. Let's taking the break for 10 minutes, and we're going to come back at 2:50 p.m. Thank you.